everybody, back to another episode of Steehn versus Machine. Of course, I'm your host of the most, Truman and Machine Steehn. As always, I'm joined by my professional handicapping father, Scott. The Steamroller, Steehn. Scott, how are you doing?
Doing well, Truman. How are you?
Good. Doing better than my.
Now, I have to
enunciation would
do all my
indicate.
I have to apologize to all my Twitter followers. I gave you props as being 10-0 for 2 weeks. I'd forgotten that Miami game fell off the fucking cliff. I'd written that down already as a victory. So you indeed were 9-1. So we'll talk about that in the recap. But I wanted to apologize right off the bat. I don't bullshit hype. I would have written the same tweet at 9-1. Is what I'm saying. So.
No, it's pretty upsetting. Yeah, Scott. I did go 4-1 last week. I had the Tennessee Indianapolis under 43.5. Indy won that game 23-16. I had the Giants Miami game at over 47.5. That one ended at 31-16. That's the one I've missed in the last 2 weeks, and I missed it by half a point.
Half a point.
Yeah, just like one field goal in the fourth quarter. Heartbreaking. In that game, I also had Miami minus 12.5. Obviously, we said they won 31-16, so they covered on that. New Orleans, and that was the worst part, is like you're cheering for something, and it's at 31-16, so they won by 15. So I'm like sitting there, I'm like, fuck, I can't have the Giants score. I know Miami's not pulling all their starters. I'm like, shit, I am in trouble here. I'm going to lose one of these bets. I also had New Orleans, New England under 39.5. That was a W at 34-0 for the Saints as they beat the hell out of the Patriots. And Green Bay, Las Vegas under 45. That was a W as Las Vegas held them off, won 17-13 there. A lot of red zone turnovers that I appreciate.
I had the Bills minus 5.5, and they went over to London and absolutely shit the bed. Jaguars certainly benefited from spending 2 weeks there, as that one was never close.
And we discussed that. We talked about that could be a factor when we were discussing that game. That was the one thing I said. I'm a little worried about that, but I thought it was a great pick.
I had the Saints Patriots under as well, like you did. And then the next two games were games that I was winning until late. The Ravens minus 4, and they inexplicably just let Pittsburgh back in the game, and actually ended up losing that game.
Yep.
And I had the Texans on the money line at plus 114, a game they led for almost the entire game until allowing a late score there, and the Falcons to take the victory. So
yeah,
that was brutal. And then
I bet along with you on that Texans money line. My sheet had the Texans money line there, and I lost that one.
I'll still make that play every day. I think that was still a good play. And then, like you, I had the Packers Raiders under 45. So you add them all up. That's a 2 and 3 week. I needed one of those games to go the other way. I need the Ravens or the Texans to go the other way to swing to a profit, and that's how it goes when you're betting. Sometimes when you're not going 5-0 or 4-1, you get those little 1 or 2 plays can literally make your week. So that's what happened there.
Yeah, well, and sometimes I certainly have had plenty of plays bust the other way as I've gone 9-1 over these 2 weeks. It's hard to complain about things busting wrong just barely when things bust right also. Sometimes also. So I look at betting and fantasy and all this stuff is a lot like I look at poker, where, listen, I'm out here, I'm making the play that I'm going to make on that game, and you can't let, if you fold a 5 deuce and because you're pretty sure the other guy has aces, you fold your 5 deuce and the flop comes 5-5-2. Doesn't mean you should hold on to 5 deuce the next time, and that's hard to. That's how these sports books and casinos make a lot of money. It's why you ever see those parlays, or you see these Bleacher Report and all these guys will post these massive parlays where it's like somebody just won $100,000 on an $8 parlay because they bet this. They bet all the underdogs on money lines and all this stuff. And and you know what? That guy did that, and because that guy did that, 20,000 people saw that post. And 20,000 people did $5 parlays that never even got fucking close on those terrible odds, and they made back that $100,000 easy, And that's the flip side of a lot of this gambling stuff, is that you can't buy into it. And parlays are fun, and they know they're fun, and they know that's how they get you. And it's like Vegas. I know, like when the Cowboys lost to the Cardinals, it came out that some of the bookmakers were like that killed out 30% of the parlays that anybody bet
Right.
because of so many people included the Cowboys in that. And then there was like another team lost, another like a couple like popular teams lost to bad teams, and they were like that killed out all the parlays. So we made a killing, and so that's just what I'm trying to say is that every pick happens in a vacuum independent of what other things have happened. Sports gambling it feels a little different, but at the same time it's not that different where it's like, oh, if I just would have bet all these as sometimes you bet plus 7.5, plus 3, and plus 4.5, and all those teams win, and you go, oh, I should have just bet the fucking money lines on all those, and then I would have hit the parlay even bigger. And then you do that next week, you bet the money line on all those, and all those teams lose by 3 points, and then your parlay would have hit, and you go, I should have never. I just because if you hit a 16 and you get a 6 every time, doesn't mean you should stop hitting 16s. It's just
Nope.
no.
Nope. It's all about the
So
math.
that's a long
All about
rant to
grinding.
say. Don't worry about it. It's just is that sometimes things break right, sometimes they break wrong.
All right, so give us some
and be consistent.
Give us some year-long stats for us, buddy, and then we'll talk about this week's pick.
Year-long stats. I was plus 290 this week, 4-1, brings me up to I was plus 292 going in. Add 290, I'm at 582, 13-7 for the whole year. You went minus 120 for the week, 2-3. You're at minus 385 going into that. You're minus 120. You're at minus 505 now. You're 8-12 for the year. You're one good week. You're a 5-0 week from being just about even. So
yeah.
That's how I had a couple weeks there towards we were negative a little bit, and I ended up positive on this show last year because I had 2 or 3 good weeks there at the end where I cleared off. I was like plus 700, plus 800 over those last like 3 weeks, and I ended up positive. So it's that's how it is. But I'm building I'm going to try to continue to keep building a way positive one, and so here we go for my picks for this week. Scott, I'll go first. I have the 49ers minus 9.5 at the Cleveland Browns at minus 108. Listen, Deshaun Watson isn't playing. Cleveland is coming off of bye week, which creates an interesting situation that maybe they knew Deshaun Watson wasn't going to play all week, and maybe they were able to prep for it and get some kind of installs. But I believe P.J. Walker is starting instead, right, is what I saw.
That's correct.
It's not even Dorian Thompson-Robinson anymore, or whatever. That's his name,
DTR.
right? Yeah, DTR.
DTR, yes.
He's not playing. He played a game and he looked awful, so they put P.J. Walker in. I don't think it matters. I think this Niners team is very good, and I think Cleveland, their best shot, I think, is to have Deshaun Watson in. And even then, I still think this game was 6.5 before it was announced that Deshaun Watson was out. I actually already got it at 6.5 because I place a lot of my bets on Thursday because I fill out my sheet and do all that stuff. And so I can, if I want to get the Thursday night game, I can bet it. I bet them all at that moment. And so I actually got the 6.5. But for the show, we do it as we record the show. We're recording here Saturday afternoon. 9.5 is what I got that Niners at over there. 9.5 minus 108 over at FanDuel. And Scott,
I've got the same. I've got the same game.
Same
game. I'll tell you, we did our NFL show on Tuesday. This was 5.5, and I loved it at 5.5. Yeah, you talked about it. The Cleveland defense is good. San Francisco defense is better, giving up just 13.6 points per game. That is second in the NFL. Cleveland giving up 15 a game. San Francisco on offense is way better. And that's where the difference is going to be in this game. 33.4 points per game, also second in the NFL versus the 23rd ranked Cleveland offense of 19 points per game. P.J. Walker, we talked about him. He's made 7 starts in his career, all come from Carolina Panthers, made 5 of them last year. Over the course of those 7 starts, 4 TDs, 6 INTs, 3-4 record. Problem with the Cleveland Browns, Truman, they can't run the football. No Nick Chubb, no run game. No Nicky, no runny. Jerome Ford averaging 3.7 yards per carry. He ain't the answer. They're running Kareem Hunt. He's had 10 carries in 2 weeks, 25 yards total. So apparently he ain't the answer either. I got to be honest with you. have a hard time seeing the Browns getting to 10 points here. I really do.
Then,
I'm not sure where the offense is going to come without some kind of deep plus territory turnover.
which then leads me to the question of I'm wondering the over, the total is at 37.5. And we saw this
Yeah.
last week, and we were like Dallas 49ers. You're like two pretty good defenses. They're going to go against each other. And the over was at like 45. And San Francisco still put up 42.5, and Dallas
Yep.
got 10.
I don't think they did go 42.5, but
sorry, they put up 42. And Dallas put up 10, so they hit the over on the 45.5. Do you think there's any value on a super low number like 37.5? Sometimes you see teams still be able to clear it where, this San Francisco defense is very good, but it's not impenetrable. They've allowed some teams to at least get some garbage time points, 10.5, 10, get to 10, 15 maybe. If they're
if I was going to do anything funky there, I'd play Cleveland team total under, which would you say it was 37.5?
Yeah, so that Cleveland team total is
So
probably what, 13 maybe?
Yeah, somewhere in the 13.5 range would be my guess.
Let's see.
I think
let's check our
if
guess.
you wanted to mess with the total, I think that'd be the play.
Interesting. Okay, I think I'm betting that over. That my sheet has the over for that. It won't be on this show, but I want to get your advice. I want to get your thoughts on that.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't know how much. I don't know that although the Dallas defense is very good as well. I just don't know that you're going to be able to. I don't know that San Francisco's going to hang 35, and I think that's what you're going to have to do to get to the over. I'm just not sure they can do it. So
that's fair.
We'll see. I wish you nothing but the best of luck there, sir.
Team props, 12.5. We're pretty close. 12.5 for Cleveland Browns. You still bet the under?
Yeah, I'll probably pass. You give it to me in the 13 range. It's a 12.5, 13 is a big difference.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd like it at 13.5. I don't love it at 12.5. Okay. Brings me to my second pick of the week. I have New Orleans, Houston under 42.5. This is available on all sports books. I feel like the deeper you get into the year, more of the sports books get a little closer on all of their numbers because they're all starting to agree on what the NFL teams are. Still always shop your lines, and we shop the lines. We tell you where we got that. We both got that first number at FanDuel. New Orleans, Houston under 42.5. Two teams that are I like it, especially with the hook at 42.5. Two teams not really known for their incredible offenses. CJ Stroud has been a revelation in Houston. He's been playing very well, but they still haven't put up a ton of points on teams. And this New Orleans defense is still pretty good. Shut out the New England Patriots last week, and I still don't really believe in the New Orleans offense much either. Especially, Devin Singletary's no, it's not Devin Singletary. Derek Stingley Jr., sorry, from the corner over there in Houston is going to match up against Chris Olave. I think he gives some problems. I think you'll see some good push on Will Anderson Jr. on the defensive line there. And, it's still a fairly young defense. DeMeco Ryans has been a defensive-minded coach, and he's had a solid defense there. So I like the under 42.5 because I think it's two struggling offenses. It's strength versus weakness and strength versus weakness. And I think that under 42.5 lines up well for what I'm looking at for that New Orleans-Houston game.
Well, really not a reason for both of us to do the show this week, Truman. I've got the same play as my second one.
Yep.
This New Orleans Saints team is the perfect under team. They are have good defense, giving up just 15.2 points per game. That's good for fifth in the league. And a bad offense, scoring at less than 20 at 19.2. That's 22nd in the league.
Yep.
And to bear that out, New Orleans currently on a 11-0 under run. Their last 11 contests have gone to the under. In those 11 games, they've averaged just 30.1 points per game total in that stretch. Now, Houston, they have faced just one decent defense, and that was the Baltimore Ravens. They scored 9 points. So Houston has been making hay against a lot of less than stellar defenses. I think the under is the play here for those reasons and the ones you elucidated as well. Give me the Saints Texans under 42 and a hook.
Simple enough. All right, moving on to my third pick of the week. Scott, I have the Carolina Miami over 47. I'm back on it. I'm back here again with a Miami
Well,
team
you're
playing
happy
a
to fuck, fucking,
another
you're happy
bad
it's not
offense.
47.5.
Yeah, yeah. It's the half. That was what it was. Yeah. But uh, again, I think it's a bad team. But I think this Miami defense is still not very good, and I think the Miami offense, as powerful it is, we've seen they're a little prone to turnovers. They're not pitcher perfect. Tua's starting to loop some of those throws again. He had a pick six from the Giants, and I expect there could be a couple turnovers that give Carolina a short field enough to kick a couple field goals, get a couple points. And this Miami offense is good enough to still take advantage of a pretty bad Carolina defense, and still, again, Miami can hit 47 at the drop of a hat. That's nothing for this Miami offense, and I expect them to get probably close to 40 again, just like they did last week, where they got 31. I'm hoping they're getting a little closer to 40, and I hope Carolina can do just enough to push us over that 47 in garbage time, maybe.
Well, Truman, I've got the same game, but I'm going to go a little different direction. I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to take the Dolphins to cover that gigantic spread. You talked about the Miami defense, and I'll tell you, they're not great, but I'll tell you who they do well against. They do well against bad offenses. They gave up 16 to the Giants, gave up 20 to Denver, and one of those was on a pick six, and they gave up 17 to New England.
Yep.
This is a Carolina team that I think struggles to get to 20. You can find a team total on them at 17 or better. I would play the under there. But as you touched on, 20 ain't going to be enough to
Yeah.
cover the spread against the Dolphins. I think I put Miami on at least 35 here. Carolina so far this season, as bad as they are, Truman, they've been overvalued by the markets as they've gone 0-4-1 against the number. I don't think they get off the schneid this week against the Dolphins. Give me Miami minus the 14.
Carolina's team total is 16.5. Again, I'd love it at
Yes.
17.5. I do not love it as much at 16.5. Not
That's why I
against
said
Carolina.
that's why I said 17. I figured 16.5 was what we were going to be across the board. That's an easy one to figure.
Yep.
At 47.5, you're 23.5. You take away 7 from that, you're at 16.5. So
That's fair.
uh, as I said, if you want to shop that and see if you can find a 17 at game time, I think that's your play there.
That's fair. Yeah, I did just
Everyone
look it
else,
up.
I wouldn't be surprised, and we do not know. You know my picks. I do not know your picks. I would not be stunned if we matched again on this one. What do you got?
I have got. Oh, I think we do match on this one actually. I've got New England, Las Vegas under 41.5, and I know you have it too. Listen, it's two terrible offenses again. We just talked about this. New England shut out last week against a defense that's still pretty good, but not elite by any means. And I'm not calling Las Vegas's defense elite either, but I think there's trouble in New England, and I think there's also trouble in Vegas. I think it's two terrible coaches. Well, not sorry. Bill Belichick, great coach. He's having a terrible time right now with his quarterbacks and his offense coordinators, and he's lost. I think this could be Bill's last year, just because I don't think he wants to stick around and figure out if this is
No,
coming back or whatever. So
he's not going to do a fuck. He's not sticking around for a fucking rebuild. No way.
you don't think so?
No, he's. Yeah, I'm with you. After this year, he's done.
I think they're going to draft a young quarterback this year and I think he's going to get out of there. So no, I don't love that for anybody involved. But what I do love it for is New England, Las Vegas under 41.5. I think, again, two just terrible offenses, two good enough defenses to keep these terrible offenses still down in the dirt. Would love it if it was at 42.5. I might have got it at 42. I'm trying to see, look at my sheet. Yeah, I got it. No, it's been 41.5. It stayed there. I would have loved it if it was just a little bit more. It was just a little. It was at 42.5. Of course, you always love it more, but I still love 41.5. We could be looking at another 17-13 slop fest like we saw
Yep.
there in what was that, Green Bay and Las Vegas on Monday night. There, you can see just a repeat of that game again.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Um, I've got the same play here. It's just this is as close to a no brainer for me as you're going to get. You got two of the bottom four scoring offenses in the NFL, and you've got a total that starts with a 4. I'm going to play that. I'm going to play that every time.
Yep.
You talked about it. Both these defenses leave a lot to be desired, but the New England stats are a little misleading when you look at the points given up per game, because they've given up, generally speaking, before last week against New Orleans, they do okay They played a lot of powerful offenses. They played Philadelphia, they played Miami, they played Dallas. So they played the Jets, gave up 10 points. I think that's a little more in line with what we're going to see. Vegas, on the other hand, that defense it just ain't good. But I think it's going to be offset by the dreadfulness of the New England offense, like you said. New England, worst scoring offense in the NFL, by the way, 11.8 points per game, and that includes giving up or scoring 18 total in the last 3 weeks. Not good. Not good, Bob. 12, 6, and 0. That's not good. Both these teams have been overvalued as far as the totals go. They are 4-1 to the under times 2. Yep, got to play it. Yeah, we got to play it. Raiders, Patriots under 41.5.
There you go. Brings me to my final pick. We definitely went different on this one. This is a pick that I got again earlier in the week. I got the Bills minus 14 on Thursday. That number is now 14.5. The sheet still loves it enough, so I went Bills minus 14.5. That's on here. Again, another huge number, but again, they're playing another terrible team. And unlike the Chiefs, where I think if the Chiefs are ever favored by 14, don't play it. They're favored by 10.5. They covered it, luckily, this week, but they would have loved not to if they could have.
So they covered it sort of luckily, and then they sort of should have won by a lot more than that. It's really, you could make an argument either way.
Yes, but they would have loved to not cover.
They had some red zone failures, and they threw an interception and kicked a field goal, and so.
But the reason they covered was because they did not execute their goal at the end. They did not want to kick that field goal. They would have loved to just get a first down and run out the clock. They did not do that, so then they had to kick a field goal. Then they covered, which is, which is why I don't love the Chiefs ever minus 10, minus any double-digit spread, but especially over 7. I really don't love them. But, what can I say? They covered it. Bills minus 14.5, though. Buffalo will blow teams out. They do not care. They don't close the playbook. They just keep on. They'll beat the hell out of you, and their defense is opportunistic enough that they can still beat the hell out of you. This Giants, speaking of teams that'll give the opportunistic Bills defense plenty of opportunities, the Giants are terrible offense, and I think they'll turn over the ball plenty. They're lost. Saquon could be back this week, which it adds a little bit of a dynamic to that offense that it didn't have when he was out. But I still don't think it'll be enough. Give me the Bills minus 14.5 here.
Okay. Well, I gotta tell you, I like your pick about as much as I like mine. I don't love. I'm gonna tell you, I don't love this last pick. I almost changed it. I was looking for a dog. I noticed I didn't want to lay a bunch of points. I was trying to find a dog, and I've got the Cardinals +7 against the Rams. I forgot Connor was out, so tread lightly. If you back our picks and you're like, I'm gonna jump all over his, tread lightly on this one.
Again, we are Arizona, another source of knowledge for your picks. We are not the end-all, be-all. Do not.
Of course not.
This is not financial advice. It's gambling picks.
This is an Arizona team that's really struggled to run the football. They've got to be able to, without Connor, they've got to be able to run the football. They need their running room. They need their running back room to step up. I think this is a great opportunity for a breakout game for Zach Ertz. He's been underutilized so far this season. So and then you've got to have him be able to step up on the defensive side. So the Cardinals are one of those teams where you look at them on paper, you're like, I don't know how these teams are ever competitive, and yet they're usually right in there punching. So division game, touchdown. I'll take the points. Cardinals going to have some home fans there in Los Angeles, although it's one of the rare games where the Rams fans will actually probably outnumber the visiting team. But I'll take that as my underdog pick. And watch, this will be the only one that wins, Truman. All those ones you and I match up, love those games, all these reasons. Like, I got the Cardinals. I don't love it. Let's play that. That'll be the one that wins right there. How that goes.
I think our matching picks. I think in years past, I feel like we always lose them. But so far this year, and this is a big old knock on wood. Let me just I'm knocking with my finger. I think this year we've done better on our consensus picks. I don't know the exact record. I could have looked it up, but I didn't. But on the picks that we've agreed with, I think they've done well. So I'm hoping we're turning over a new leaf and we'll hit a little better. But yeah, it does always seem like when you're like, oh, I have to have 5 picks, you're like, okay, I love these 3, hate these 2. You'll always lose the ones you loved and you'll win the ones you hate. And who knows why?
It does
Maybe it's
happen a
because
lot.
you're maybe looking at it with rose-colored glasses for those picks because you loved them so much that you didn't notice that, oh, well, their offense is playing a lot better the last couple of weeks. But you're like, oh, they're a terrible offense, and you've got that in your head, So who knows? But
Well,
hopefully,
and a lot of you've got to get rid of preconceived notions before you start capping the game,
yep,
and that
let the numbers speak to you.
is much easier said than done.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So this week's picks, again, I had 49ers minus 9.5, Saints Houston under 42.5, Carolina Miami under 47 over 47, New England Las Vegas under 41.5, and the Bills minus 14.5. Scott, you had?
I had also the 49ers minus 9.5. I also had the Texans Saints under 42.5. You and I are playing the Dolphins game a little bit differently. I've got the Dolphins minus the 2 touchdowns. You and I both have the Raiders Patriots under 41.5.
Yep.
And I've got as my dog pick of the week the Cardinals plus 7.
Absolutely. There you go. Well, we appreciate everybody for being here. I hope you guys have been playing along with us. I believe if I check these numbers again, I want to say that as a show, we are still positive. I am at plus 582. Scott's at minus 505. But hey, you're positive. If you've been picking every single pick with us, you're positive.
That's right. Yeah. And Truman doing a lot of heavy lifting here so far. So
I'm here.
The old man needs
time. I know you're about to pick it up. I know we're about to really start pumping these.
That's right.
Pumping these profits. Pump it.
That's
up.
right.
Pump it up. Yeah, we're on it. We're on our way. So we appreciate everybody for being here. Appreciate you guys all for hanging out. Appreciate you for showing up every week. Really think we've got good stuff in store for you this week, and hopefully the upcoming weeks also. Scott, you got anything to add?
I'm good. Come over and check me out if you want to get even more of my picks. It's hard to believe that you would without me getting on a hot streak, but I do have premium picks for sale over there at winnersandwhiners.com, so check that out. And I actually have some good handicappers over there as well that are. I've got a guy on a 16-1 NFL run right now. So
sheesh, as the kids would say.
They don't hand those out like Halloween candy. So go check out myself or Mike Briggs over there at Winners and Whiners. Grab yourself some picks.
Absolutely. Well, we hope to see you next week. Scott, you want to say the line?
Yeah. Well, you guys get down on him, especially Ride the Kid right now because he's hotter than hell. You can get yourself down on those picks, and at the end of the day, you can grab those winning tickets and head back through the window.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Take care, buddy. Give him the roar, Daddy.